So a hacker was able to get access to your web server and they were able to exfiltrate all of the usernames and passwords. But what are they actually going to do with those passwords considering they're stored as hashes by the server? So for those who don't know, a hash basically uses a mathematical function in order to convert a password or a set of characters into a fixed length output that looks like gibberish to anybody who's looking at it. So when a user is created and that user goes to set their password, that password is going to be turned into a hash by the server using this hashing algorithm. So this way, if any malicious user gets access to the passwords, they're not able to immediately read them, but they have to go through the process of cracking them in order to actually see what the password is. So in order to actually crack the passwords, a popular tool that's used for this is John the Ripper. So John the Ripper is an open source command line utility that's used to basically crack weak passwords by performing offline attacks against cryptographic hashes. And one of the ways that John the Ripper is able to crack hashes is through the dictionary mode. So dictionary mode basically takes in a list of commonly known passwords. So one popular list of this is like rock you, for example. And then John the Ripper is going to run through its algorithm in order to create a hash for each of these passwords. And then it's going to use those hashes and compare it against the password hash that you give to it. So let's say that you're able to exfiltrate a password hash from a web server. You'll take that password hash, you'll pass it into John the Ripper, and then you'll pass in a dictionary list, which it can use to basically try and compare hashes to the hash that you give it. So then it can figure out what the actual password is. So a really popular dictionary list that is used is called rocku.txt. And this is basically a list of commonly used passwords which were exfiltrated from a company in 2009 called RockU. And so this is an easy list to use for cracking basic passwords.
All right, so now let's get into the demonstration of cracking passwords with John the Ripper. So first, I just wanted to show where you would actually find the passwords. So if a hacker gets access to a web server, where are they going to go to actually get the passwords? Okay, so in my Ubuntu server, I'm just going to open up my terminal. And where we want to go here is we want to look at the etc and then shadow file. So if we do a sudo and then cat etc shadow, then this should give us our password hashes. I'll just enter in my password. Okay, and there we have it. So these are the usernames along with the password hashes for them. So I have admin user, admin, and David. All right, so once we have the password hashes, all we need to do is put those into a file. So in my case, I have my hashes in a file called md5.txt. So I'm just going to cat md5.txt, and we can see a list of these md5 hashes in here. And one thing to note here is that John the Ripper is able to handle multiple different hash types. So this is MD5 here, which it would be able to auto detect. But John the Ripper can also handle hashes like SHA-256, SHA-512, MD5, like I said. And then there's newer formats like YesScript or Script, which are slower but more secure. So John is generally able to identify the hash type based on prefixes, and it also gives you the ability to specify the hash type as well, if you already know it. So since we have this hash list, we can pass that to John. So we'll just say John, and then we'll specify the hashes, so md5.txt, and then the word list is going to be that rocku word list, as I mentioned earlier. So it's going to be in the user share word lists and then rocku.txt. And then the format we can just specify since we already know it, which is going to be MD5. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and run that and let it crack these passwords. Okay, so that finished pretty quickly as MD5 is more insecure and easier to crack. So we can see that it loaded 11 passwords here, and it was able to get each of the different passwords from those hashes. And then the session completed as it has finished going through each of those passwords. So that's just a quick overview for how hackers can actually crack passwords once they've obtained access to a web server and they've been able to exfiltrate those password hashes. Now for these password hashes, since they are simple passwords in MD5 format, it was able to crack them pretty quickly. However, if passwords are more complex, that they have symbols and numbers and they're longer, then it would take significantly longer for John to be able to crack that. And it would take a lot more computing power as well. So that's all I have for this video. If you found this video helpful or enjoyed it, please feel free to give a like and subscribe. And thank you for watching this video.